first of all, thank you all so much for coming to this session. My hope for this session is that you're all here because you're on the technical side, maybe a data engineer on the IT team, the person doing all of the hard data work before it then goes to the business users. So you're probably here because you're interested in learning more about how to better collaborate with the business users. And this session was inspired by a lot of real conversations I have with customers. Just a few weeks ago, I was talking to someone who's a data engineer, and they said to me, hey, you know, Alex, what do I get paid to do? And I said, build data pipelines. And they said, no, I build data pipelines, but what I get paid to do is solve business problems, right? And so you need the business users to do that. So that's why we're here. And I'm a product marketer at Alteryx, so I'm focused specifically on data architecture. That means I think a lot about how data is getting from point A to point B, just like all of you. And in the course of that, I've seen that data has a last mile problem. That means that after you've done all of the hard data work of getting the data where it needs to be, what happens next? The business needs to use it. But the problem is it's often not getting to that last mile of final business value. Just like in shipping and transportation, you're probably familiar with the last mile problem from that, right? It's that very end of the journey where the package has to get to the destination or the passenger has to get home. It's the shortest part, but it's often the most time-consuming and costly part. It's the hardest step of the journey, is that last mile. And the same goes for data in a lot of cases. So let's say you are on the data team, you have the data ready to go, you've already done the hard work of landing in Databricks, making sure it's secure, governed, all of that. But next, it needs to get to that last mile. It needs to get to that final destination of the business value. Problem is, they often can't get to the data warehouse, and they shouldn't, right? In a lot of cases, if you're Amazon, for example, you don't want everybody walking into the Amazon distribution center to go find their item, right? In the same way, you don't want all of the business users coming in to the Databricks, lakehouse or wherever environment you're in. So you want to make sure, though, that the data can still get to that final mile. The problem is, because the business users can't get into the data warehouse, nor should they in most cases, a lot of the data just sits there unused. So all those beautiful tables we've worked on are just sitting there collecting dust because often the business doesn't know about it. Or, and this is the worst scenario, it's getting used over and over and over because you're having to build dashboards and rebuild the dashboards again because you're going back and forth about requirements, right? So ideally, what you want is for the business users to get on a truck, right? They need to get from the warehouse to that final destination. And that's going to be all those last mile steps is what I call them. The things that the business should be more involved in because they know the data best. They should be able to discover data sets, identify the use cases for it, understand what's going on with the business that you even need the data for, right? Preparing the data. Maybe they're helping with creating features, doing some feature engineering as you're starting to build models. And then finally, they should be the people putting together the dashboards, helping share the final insights. And here's where AI comes in. AI, I always say, is both the problem and the solution. It's the problem because you're going to hear a lot this week. It's creating the need for more domain involvement in the data journey, right? You're going to hear a lot about how high quality data is more important than ever. Accurate data is more important than ever. So you need that domain specific expertise to be a part of it. Well, for that to happen, they need to be more involved in things they weren't before. That's where AI is also the solution. AI is what helps make those steps more accessible than they were before. So it's now easier than ever for the technical folks and the business folks to collaborate. So that's really where Databricks and Alteryx come together. Databricks solves the technical problems, Alteryx helps solve the business problems. Both of them have built-in AI capabilities, making it easier for those domain experts to get involved in the last mile where they weren't before, in a time when it matters more than ever. So Databricks is your data infrastructure. You can think of it as your foundation. Like I said, it's where you're solving all of the technical problems. You're doing the hard work of making sure the data is governed, it's available. You've got the compute resources, the scalability you need. So you've solved, your work is to solve all of those things. Alteryx helps solve the business problems. So how many of you here are familiar with Alteryx? It's so weird getting a show of hands and I can't hear anybody. Awesome, yeah. So for those of you familiar with Alteryx, you know that it's designed for the business user. It's designed to fill in that gap where there isn't a business-friendly solution for working with data. And so Alteryx is an easy, no-code visual interface for your Databricks infrastructure. I often say that if Databricks is the engine, Alteryx is the easy-to-use steering wheel that lets more drivers use the engine. Or if we're thinking about it as a last-mile problem, maybe Like if Databricks is the train, Alteryx is the bird scooter that everybody can get on, but maybe less dangerous. So this is a little bit more about Alteryx. We are now the AI platform for enterprise analytics. AI platform comes from the fact that we have our AI engine. It's called Aiden. And it's really what's powering a lot of the built-in AI capabilities across all of our offerings. Enterprise analytics, because we are enterprise grade. We are built for very robust workloads. We can handle billions of rows of data. We can handle use cases from start to finish. So we have everything from ETL to preparation to more advanced data science use cases like geospatial analysis, building a predictive model, and then finally reporting and visualization at the end. And we do all of those things really well on top of Databricks. So we support Databricks SQL, SQL Warehouse, SQL Serverless, Spark. So whichever engine your team wants to be using, Alteryx is integrated with that. We are also integrated with Unity Catalog, so we support the governance and data management features that are important. And we do all of that across environments. So we have Alteryx Designer, which is, for those of you who raised your hand, it's probably what you're using. It's our flagship product. That's available on-prem from your desktop or on a virtual desktop as needed. But we also have our Alteryx Analytics Cloud portfolio, and that's our SaaS cloud native offerings. And so depending on what you want to do, whether you're in an on-prem setup and you're good with that, or you have more of a hybrid situation and you're transitioning, or you want to have a fully cloud native stack, browser-based from end to end, we've got different options for you, and they all work with Databricks. So today I'm going to focus on a couple things in our cloud portfolio because you're probably interested in hearing what's new. So Alteryx Designer Cloud is similar to our Designer desktop experience in that it's a very visual drag and drop canvas. So Designer Cloud is where your business users can work with data without code, and they'll be doing a lot of those steps like preparation, aggregating the data, cleansing the data, joining it together. Maybe they're doing some ad hoc exploratory analysis. So that's drag and drop, and it also has AI capabilities built in to guide them along the way. So if you've caught up with Alteryx Designer desktop news, we recently introduced Aiden Copilot, and that is a Copilot built into desktop. Similarly, a little different here, but for Designer Cloud, we've got AI-powered suggestions for transformations that you might want to do on your data. So if you're trying to help guide a business user through the steps of building an analytic workflow, it kind of helps hold their hand, work them through that process as an education tool, so you can kind of let them have at it and not worry about it. So that's another new feature with Designer Cloud. And also with all of this, you can be using Databricks as your execution engine. So when you build out a workflow, you don't have to move the data out of Databricks. It stays in Databricks. And you can actually select the Databricks engine when you run your workflow. So without needing to code, a user can use these drag and drop tools, but then run the job using your Databricks engine. So great way to minimize data movement, allow the business users to take advantage of your Databricks data and compute without having to move anything around. Alternatively, we do have our built-in Alteryx engine. It's also extremely fast and powerful, so that's always an option as well. And other data sources like Snowflake is something we support. We also have Alteryx Auto Insights. This is personally the most exciting thing for me. Alteryx Auto Insights is kind of like giving business users their own data expert. So I mentioned that you want to avoid building and rebuilding dashboards. Think of this as a more dynamic alternative to a dashboard. So instead of having predetermined ideas for what you want to put in your dashboard and having to go back and forth to change it, what Auto Insights does is you can take a data set, and Auto Insights will use AI and ML to read that data set and surface the key trends and patterns that you should be looking into. So it actually surfaces things. I hear people telling me all the time, it finds things that you might not have thought about looking into. It also allows you to investigate and explore the data on your own without touching the underlying data. So I hear this is popular with a lot of leaders and executives who, they say they're a numbers person and they want to, play with the data. They want to touch the data. They want to feel like they're doing their own investigation. This is a great way to hand them that tool, give them that experience without them having to mess with the underlying pipelines or data sets. We also have, as part of Auto Insights, Magic Documents, so you can generate emails and presentations automatically. And then this is the newest thing. We have Auto Insights Playbooks. Has anybody here heard of Playbooks yet? Sweet, yay, new information. So Playbooks is actually a way to generate use case ideas. So I mentioned that the business users should be part of actually coming up with what to solve with the data. So you can put in a data set and it'll scan it and generate different use cases that you can use analytics for, as well as automatic reports out of those things. So even if your business users have no idea what they even want to explore yet or questions they want to ask, playbooks will help them identify those things. So really, the way I think about it is AI is helping complete that last mile and get everybody driving in the same direction. So you're probably one to many, right? You're the data expert, you're on maybe a central team having to support a lot of departments, and you've got all these other business experts that you need to be able to scale to, right? AI makes it so that those business experts are now more enabled and up to speed on being part of the analytics journey, so that you've got a whole AI-powered analytics culture and you're all able to get to that last step of ROI together. All right, so I'm really blowing through this thing. We're gonna spend the last few minutes talking about a supply chain use case in the spirit of solving last mile problems. So let's say you've got this data set. It's got shipments information and it lives in Databricks. This is what it looks like to you, right? If you're working in Databricks, that's where you live. That's what the data set looks like. The question is, how is the business gonna use this data set? Do you want them going into Databricks and finding it and messing around with it? No, they're not able to do that. Just like Amazon not wanting you to charge into their distribution center to track down the thing you ordered. And so instead, we're gonna have our supply chain team use Alteryx to work with this. So let's say we have a non-technical supply chain analyst, not comfortable with SQL, don't know how to code, but want to be able to start taking advantage of data sets like that one. From within Alteryx Analytics Cloud, again, browser-based, cloud native, they could securely connect to Databricks and actually search Databricks Unity Catalog for data sets. So here they've found this shipments data set and they can even preview the data to make sure it's what they expected and were looking for. And right off the bat, someone was able to connect to and find Databricks data without having to go into Databricks, right? Then from there, they'll add it as a data layer in Alteryx Auto Insights. So it's also available in Alteryx Analytics Clouds. They just pop over in their browser. And now that data set's ready for analysis. So here we're in Auto Insights Playbooks. This is what Playbooks looks like. It gives you two options. You can either enter a scenario. So if you don't have any data in mind that you want to use, you could just say, I'm a supply chain analyst and I want to improve delivery times. And it'll generate use cases with synthetic data. So it's a great way to build a proof of concept if you don't want to start playing around with existing data. In this case, we have this awesome shipments data set that we just found. So we're going to plug that in, and Playbooks will scan that data set to generate best fit use cases based on the scenario you want. Okay, so I'm a supply chain analyst. I have my shipments data set. I'm going to click that button to load use cases, and within a couple minutes, it pops out with this. So these are different use cases based on what it found in the data set. You can optimize order processing efficiency. You can improve shipping cost management. You can evaluate different warehouse performances. You can identify late delivery causes. And here's where it's really cool when a business user is involved in this, because they understand what's going on in the business best, right? It's their job to know what's happening and what the problems are. You build the data pipelines, they help solve the business problems. And so they know that it's a problem that we've had issues with late deliveries. So they're going to choose that use case to look into. From there, it says, you can say, build a monthly report or build a weekly report. So we'll click on open the report, and Auto Insights will generate a report from that data set. So here, without doing any other configuration, it's read the data set and detected these findings. And it also shows nice visualizations along with that. You can go in and drill down deeper into certain things. You can add pages to the report. There's a lot of customizing you can do. But right off the bat, what it's telling us is that express air shipping mode is contributing to the most late deliveries, which is weird. And it's also saying that order priorities that are critical are also the most late, which is a shocking finding, right? It's something you might not have expected if you were just building a static dashboard. So I think, okay, I want to share this with my team. Now, I don't know about you all. I hope you can't tell from my session, but I hate making slides. Does anybody here like making slides? No, one weirdo back there. I see you. Yeah, We need those. We need you. I don't like making slides. So you can have Magic Documents generate slides based on that report that it just built. What's cool about Magic Documents is it also incorporates business recommendations. So this says, reconsider using express error. It can also be clever if you want it to be. You can adjust the tone. I have it set to witty here. So it says priority paradox as the headline because it's a paradox that critical deliveries are the ones that are getting there late. So you can adjust the audience, the business objective, and it even has notes in the slides to help you with the talk track. So that's really the last step with Auto Insights, but of course, there's so much more you can do in Alteryx Analytics Cloud to keep this story going. So let's say based on what you're finding out, you want to go back and do a little bit more exploratory analysis with the data set, or maybe you want to join it with other data sets to enrich in your analysis. You can pop into Designer Cloud. Just hop back over in your browser and start working with the data set there. You can use Alteryx machine learning. Let's say you want to build a predictive model that helps you predict whether a delivery is going to be late. You can do that without code in Alteryx machine learning. I will say here real quick, let's say you want to use a more code-based approach, like you want to build a more heavy-duty machine learning model in Databricks. That's cool too. Use the business users and the domain experts to help prepare the data that then gets fed into the model, right? You can still bring them in for that step of it with Designer or Designer Cloud. And then that way you'll have more business-ready data to feed the models that you're then building in something else like Databricks. Location intelligence is another newer application available in Alteryx Analytics Cloud. This is great for supply chain use cases, but also for retail, insurance. So many different verticals can use it. Really, it's for geospatial analysis without code. So maybe in this case, my supply chain team wants to better optimize routes based on drive time between warehouses. That's something they can find using location intelligence. And then finally, we have App Builder. This is another new one. So available, again, in Alteryx Analytics Cloud. Without code, you can build a self-service app. So it's where you can plan out the orchestration and logic, and you can also design an interface for an end user. So if my supply chain analyst wants to be able to build an app that expands to the rest of the supply chain department, maybe they want to allow them to filter a data set for something, answer their own questions. Great way to keep scaling to even more and more users. So really what this is about is enabling more people to benefit from the data work that you've already done. You want to make what you're doing more visible in the rest of the business. And that's what the last mile of analytics is about. It's about accomplishing the hardest step of the journey and making sure that people understand the significance of what you've already done to get it there. So with that, if that got you excited, I have some resources for you. Alteryx Analytics Cloud is available in Databricks Partner Connect. So talk to your workspace admin and you can launch a free trial of Alteryx from within Databricks with your Databricks connection already configured and ready to go. You can also read up on the Databricks plus Alteryx best practices guide. I'll share a QR code with you in a second for that. This has all of the more technical configuration information. So for both desktop and server and Alteryx Analytics Cloud, it's got the instructions for both. So that's where you can learn a little bit more about where that works. And then finally, we do have a booth here. I don't have the number because I'm not good at remembering booth numbers, but if you go just straight back there, you'll find us. I can also walk with you there. But we've got our experts here right now to learn, if you want to learn more about everything I just talked through, there's so much more to cover. And then here is that QR code for the best practices guide in case you want to grab it now. And then I think that's about it for my spiel. So thank you so much again for coming to this. That's all I've got for you today, and have a great rest of your week.